Hey, it's Todd Ault. This is Bitcoin Weekly. I am the executive chairman and founder of BitNile Holdings, really BitNile Inc. BitNile Holdings is the holding company that owns everything. BitNile Inc. is the miner.
Yeah.
20,600 miners being installed. We really made a lot of progress on getting them delivered, man. I'm pretty excited about that.
We're rocking and rolling, man.
We are for sure. Let me make sure I can pull up these. Let's see, this is it. We have a special guest today. It's the it's May 17th, 2022. It's the fourth episode of Bitcoin Weekly, part of the Risk On series. We have Q Marth. I'm not going to blast his last name because I'll mess it up, but everyone knows him as Q, and he is a content developer for Bitcoin Magazine. What's up, Q?
It's a pleasure to be here, man. How are you doing? How is Vegas?
Dude, the conference was off the chart, dude. We had Greg Foss, we had Natalie Burnell, we had Perry Ann Boring. We had Chris from Bitmain was there.
Nicole Arbor.
We had Nicole Arbor. We had Anthony Scaramucci, Damon John, Congressman Aaron Schock, Alex Rodriguez, Charles Payne.
Greg Reed.
It was Greg Reed. It was awesome.
Brian Smith, the founder of Uggs Boots.
Brian Smith, founder of UGG. Brad Lee was there.
Yep, Brad.
It exceeded my expectations in a biblical way. But you know, during the conference, Q, I was able to buy some Bitcoin for $27,000, and I was thinking of a lot of things I've seen on Bitcoin Magazine. And I just wondered if you could kind of give the audience your thoughts on, if we could just take a step right now and just for this moment at 1:07 p.m. Pacific time on the 17th of May, kind of your assessment of the lay of the land. We're holding 30,000, pretty close, 30,107. I've kind of bought into don't worry about price. Worry about how many of those 21 million Bitcoin you're going to own. I bought into that. But I think it's hard for the public to not pay attention to price because we denominate everything in dollars, US dollars. And so I'm going to shut up and just let you give the status of where you think the universe of Bitcoin, which is what I call the most important thing, and then everything else is what cryptocurrency, including shit coins or non-shit coins, including valuable stuff that may be part of the ecosystem. But I'm a pure Bitcoin guy. So just where do you think we are right now?
I mean, look, everyone's got to take a sip from that same cup that I think you and I are both drinking from. I come from that O'Neill growth investor trading style. So there was a learning curve for me where, you know, catching those falling knives is scary.
Wait, hold on. Wait a second. Did you just say William O'Neill?
Yes.
Are you kidding?
I'm a big like. This is how I first came across your stuff.
Are you a Can Slim guy?
Dude. Can Slim till I die.
Dude, you're freaking me out. Nobody even brings it up anymore, dude. It's the basis of how I made so much money trading, dude. William O'Neill, oh my God, that's a whole different topic. Let's have you on the regular show about stocks, because if you know Can Slim, but a whole generation doesn't even know what we're talking about.
No, but it is important to, I think, at least pull from some of the things. You're absolutely right. Like most people, even if they are investing, they're more so value investors that are looking at someone like Warren Buffett for guidance, whereas like growth investing and momentum investing, which I really like to do, was really advantageous in 2020 and 2021. Now, one of the things to really look at and really understand why it only worked then and not now, NASDAQ right now, like it had a solid day. I think it closed just under 12,000 a share, or 12,000 in total for the index. That's around the level of November and December of 2020. In November and December of 2020, Bitcoin was actually worth just about $14,000 to $15,000. All of this is being denominated in USD. Mm-hmm. So you already can kind of see from that metric alone that Bitcoin is actually holding up much better than the stock market, despite this, it's more than 50% off of its all-time highs. Now, look, the idea of catching these falling knives as you keep going, as your losses pile up, it's intimidating to say the least. And I'll be fully transparent. I sent out a tweet last week, and I've been calling this for some time, where it has looked like since I have the tweet up and now I just lost it. So since January 4th of 2021, when Bitcoin crossed above $27,920, it has essentially come down and tested within a 5% range that 28,000 price level, no less than 7 times, including last week when you and I were stacking heavy. So as someone who's a more technical trader, I look at that and I see, oh, we're starting to see real support at this level. Now, why or what is causing that? I'm not going to try to speculate on that. I'm more so paying attention to the human psychology there and just treating this like a, hey, I can stomach from here, especially another 50% drawdown if it came to that. I do think that there's something that's getting lost in a lot of these conversations. You hear everyone who claims to be some sort of a technical expert, this, that, or the other, which I will never claim. I just simply try to interpret what the chart says and make my best adjustments based on that. None of these 4-year cycles that Bitcoin has had, whether or not you believe the 4-year cycle is dead or will continue, you've never seen a dip that undercut the previous cycle's all-time high. So if that trend continues, using 20,000 as a real floor base case right now, there's some merit and credibility. Then there's a lot of other arguments. I don't buy into a lot of the technical stuff on Bitcoin because it all changes very quickly. Bitcoin is still only 12 years old, 13 years old. So the metrics are still sort of being sussed out. Part of the reason why I actually like old school Japanese candlesticking techniques when I look at Bitcoin's chart, because it's all rooted in human psychology, and you're literally witnessing human psychology in real time right now. I actually will also make this statement because at some point we should discuss it. I actually am in the minority. I do not think Do Kwon, I do not think Luna buying or selling 80,000 Bitcoin, total Bitcoin, not $80,000 worth, had any net effect in either the price going up or the price going down. I genuinely believe that was noise. And I believe what we're really witnessing is Bitcoin being traded as a risk-on asset by big money managers who are not in the public markets. So you're not going to see CNBC, CNN, Fox talk about the fact that this random money manager out of Colorado that has a fund worth $10 million is actually allocating 0.5% to 1% of his portfolio, and shedding that 0.5% comes out to sometimes $500,000, maybe $100,000 sometimes. So yeah. So with those type of movements, that's why you're seeing this correlation with the NASDAQ. It actually makes for trading right now in a weird way very easy, because you can set expectations that the NASDAQ will follow Bitcoin, and those NASDAQ puts have been treating me nicely right now.
What's up, crypto?
What's going on, man?
Do you know something I know?
Q's puts are printing.
What would I
They
know?
are. The Bitcoin car was announced and was out there on the track today. Did you see it?
I did not. I was flying.
Oh, well.
So
It's going to be
is
an
it.
interesting week, dude. 100 signups for Earnity in the first 30 minutes
I know,
of the car going live.
I saw that come across on
Did
your
you see
text.
that?
Yeah.
Do we have any action on Twitter with the car?
Q, we launched, we have got 3 cars running at Indy. We have the Ulzaman car, the BitNile car, and the new Bitcoin racing team, which we are the primary sponsor, and we'll be announcing other things with the Bitcoin racing team.
There it is.
We have a 21 car, the 20 car, which is the BitNile car, the 21 car, which is the BitNile Bitcoin racing team powered by BitNile. It's orange. You can see
That's
that there. I don't know if you
beautiful.
can see that on the screen. And then we have the Ulzaman car number 33. We're pretty excited about marketing Earnity. It's a 19. We own 19.9% of this really kind of user-free trust platform where when you buy Bitcoin through Earnity, your coin goes into trust in your name, and therefore it's not on the balance sheet of the company. There's no risk to you losing your Bitcoin. It's in trust in your name at a trustee. So it's a new concept. Hopefully working out. And obviously, I know you're agnostic and neutral as a Bitcoin magazine. But what's if you had a favorite place to go out there and trade and do things? What are you doing out there? Where do you like to buy Bitcoin?
So I will only really use Strike and Cash App. I'm a weird purist in that sense, where like I won't use Coinbase. The fees on Strike are so cheap and easy. Setting up dollar cost averaging there, and then I have a bunch of limit orders on Cash App. Fees are a little bit steeper on Cash App, but then ultimately, I like the idea that these are both products that are catered purely to Bitcoin. I think the work that both Jack Dorsey and Jack Mallers are doing are helping to shape Bitcoin in ways that I would like to have a hand or at least see it transpire, whereas a place like Coinbase is more focused on let's maximize the amount of money that we're making off of our customers, irregardless to what we're offering them, what products we're giving them, or what access we give them. And so that's my 2 cents. Plus, Coinbase's earning report last week was scary to say the least.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's something that we'd want to dive into, but those are the main places that I go. Anything else that I do, I just do it on my E-Trade account, really.
Do you feel like people out there in the Bitcoin community that want to be part of different applications? Is there someone getting it right? Like you go, this firm is getting it right. These are someone. I mean, who should we be looking at that's getting Bitcoin right in terms of like? I mean, I know it seems like Michael Saylor's getting it right. I mean, you can trade and invest in MicroStrategies. And for full disclosure, I bought a ton of it when it went down to 168 and 144 last week. It was a monumental home run last week for us. Oh my God, it was holy Toledo. But who do you think out there as a public company is getting Bitcoin right?
Like of the publicly traded companies,
Yeah.
there's probably only a handful, really, given the fact that it's a lot of miners. I'm actually keeping an eye on Hut 8. I think they're a really small mining company out of Canada. And just based on how they're focused on growing, their metrics on how much they're retaining their Bitcoin and other offerings they have like a repair branch where they essentially just repair miners for other large mining companies. They also allow other miners to pool in their miners, which not every single one of these publicly traded mining companies will do. I kind of see Hut 8 as like this dark horse out of the bear markets to hopefully rise up. That's one that I'm really keeping an eye on.
Hut 8.
But they're like 10% of the market. I mean, they're not a small miner.
She's doing a good job there.
They're not the biggest either, and I think they lose out on sort of the conversations between Marathon and Riot and just this pool that continues to get picked up on. Hut isn't out of those conversations, but it's often forgot about.
Yeah, I'm not recommending these stocks, but I agree. Hut 8, Hive, and Clean Spark. Those are my 3 that I really...
You like them?
Yeah, those are the 3. Again,
I can't comment on Nile since I happen to
do your own research.
run it. Yeah.
Yeah, Renus is position 5 at the practice session.
I saw that.
Live
P5.
on Peacock.
Right.
I got pictures of the BitNile car. You want to see it?
Let's
Bitcoin
check it
car.
out.
Powered
but
by
do you have the
BitNile.
over pictures, the ones over it?
Yeah, I got 4 of them.
Can you show all 4?
Yeah, bring it up, Nick. You got it? Okay, there's the side profile there. Looks
Right.
pretty sexy, huh? Then we've got the front image.
Right.
With the Dutch flag for Renus.
Yeah, there you go.
That's
That's
nice.
rad.
What's that?
That's rad.
Yeah. And then look at this. Look at that.
Earnedy on the back.
Wow.
There you go.
Look at that back action there.
Yeah.
Little
We got
Earnedy
the
action.
nose cone.
And then look. Yeah, look at the nose.
What's the nose cone have on it?
Crypto Joe.
What is that? Is that a picture of
Holy
someone?
shit. I just noticed
Wait a
that.
sec,
Wait,
let's
go
go
back
back.
to that. Is
Wait
that
a second.
Crypto Joe
let's,
on there?
Let's scan in there for a
Dude,
second.
is that
Can
real?
you zoom in?
Hold on, let me make that bigger.
Wait a second here.
Wait a
He's
minute.
not supposed to find out until we go to Indy this
Oh,
weekend.
that's as big as I can make it.
You can't make
Oh
it any
my
bigger.
God, he's got Crypto
Joe's on the front of the car.
You are
The
lying.
fucking car.
I did, dude. I told you.
Dude.
Sorry. The king already put it on the internet out there, your face.
Get the hell outta
Yeah, you're
here.
on the
Dude,
front of the
That
car.
is crazy.
Are you
I told you
serious?
you're going to get a treat. That's
Hey.
why I said you got to come to qualify
Joe,
with me.
when you go to the
Q,
snake pit-
sorry, buddy. We're
He's gonna go to
we're
the snake
excited
pit.
about.
I'm loving this.
Oh
This
my
is great.
God.
We have coined the Bitcoin racing team with Ed Carpenter Racing,
way.
and we're obviously as we expand Bitcoin, we get a big presence, and I know a lot of people have been questioning us, but guess what, dude? 400,000 people at the Indy 500 that attend the Indy 500 get Bitcoin if they sign up for Earnedy. And we're bringing it to the masses, man. We're bringing Bitcoin right into the heartland of America and giving them all Bitcoin when they sign up for Earnedy. And by the way, that's a big benefit for us because we own 19.9% of that beast.
I just want to know. It's practice day to day. It's not even. it's not even qualifying
But
weekend.
that's the
what?
car. I mean, you don't understand. For the Indy 500 during the race, your
You're
face is on the front.
lying.
I'm
That's
not joking,
great.
dude.
Dude, I just sent it to
Crypto
you.
Joe, baby. Crypto Joe.
I can't believe that.
That is awesome.
Has anyone ever had a face on the
I don't
car?
know, man. I don't know.
Could be
We
a
need
first.
to look this up, dude.
We
Q,
do.
where do you live?
I'm down in Los Angeles.
So if you want to come to the Indy 500, I want you to come as my guest. Bring a guest. I will have a hotel room for you. I will have pit passes, paddock passes. You can come into our private suite. All you have to do is get yourself there on a plane if you want to come be my guest at the Indy 500. Now,
Don't tempt me with a good
Dude,
time
that's
like
crazy.
that, Todd.
No, I'm
Take
tempting you right
up
now,
on that.
dude. Q, I'm tempting you right now. Q,
Oh my God.
did you? What are your thoughts about? Have you ever? I know you're a friend of Greg Foss's. The program is at least, and he spoke at our conference. I wondered if we could kind of. Q didn't get a chance to see it, but can you guys give him a little bit of an overview of what Greg said?
You know, Foss is actually he's
Wait,
trending on Twitter
without
right now.
seeing it. I think I can summarize.
Yes. How do you say? Yeah, but
Fuck,
yep.
Taper, Ponzi, can't. Jerome Powell's an idiot. And let me see. Oh, fuck Trudeau. Something of that too.
Dude,
Well, okay, we're done. The show's over with. We're perfectly summarized.
Yeah.
Except that I didn't hear fuck Powell. And I'm not. By the way, just for the record.
No.
I think Powell's doing a great
Q.
job.
He
I'm
dropped the
good with
F bomb
Powell.
on Munger. F Munger.
He
okay,
said
it was
F
Munger
Munger.
this time, okay.
He said F Munger.
I actually think he said something nice about Powell. Now that I'm thinking of, not nice, but
No,
he said
let's
that
be
he
clear.
that he understood
let's
it.
be clear. I think people got to give Powell a little bit of a break. This is sort of unprecedented times where the government printed money in a pandemic after already having a 2008 debacle and all the things we've had. We've answered all these problems with more liquidity, right? I mean, it was destined to have inflation. Was it not?
Oh yeah, there's no way around it. You can't put that much helicopter money in there and not have. I mean, this is out of control.
I saw Ben Bernanke though yesterday, and let's talk about him. His comments were like ludicrous. He's like, well, it can be used for nefarious purposes. Yeah, and they can trace it. How many U.S. dollars do you trace when people get cash out? How often do you find those dollars?
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Did you see his comments?
I did, and I mean, look.
This is supposed to be good
ultimately,
right here.
every single time, my response is always one of the pictures of
real?
Pablo Escobar with his piles of
Yeah,
cash.
exactly.
Or like whenever they find El Chapo stuff. Like to your point, there are more U.S. dollars being used illegally than Bitcoin being used illegally. It's a fool's argument that shows that you don't actually understand the technology
might be funny.
or the fact that the blockchain is literally public. It is fully available. Anyone can access it. All the transactions are out there. It's not hidden.
I know
There are
it's
ways to
it's
hide.
it's fairly
Actually, the
what?
DOJ said something about that. The head of the DOJ said it was probably the easiest way to find someone in criminal activity. That was about 3 months ago.
Yeah, but Powell's out there, or not Powell, but Bernanke was out there saying nonsense.
Yeah, but Bernanke's just angry that like he didn't get as much love the way Powell sometimes gets from people like you, Todd, and he wanted to come back into the limelight a little bit. It didn't feel like it was coming from a place of like, hey, this is wrong and let's fix this. It's just like, hey, this is my 2 cents because you guys used to care about my 2 cents. That's the way I read Bernanke's statement. But I'm also a bit of
Q.
a
If people want to get the most out of Bitcoin Magazine, can we direct them to where to go? Because what we're going to try to do is get back to our original. What's wrong?
This has got to be funny. I don't know. I haven't been able to preview it yet.
Okay, hold on. Let's get back to our original premise, Jason. We wanted to be educational here,
Yeah, sure.
right?
Yeah.
And we had a chance for Q kind of direct people in Bitcoin Weekly. What would you be looking at if important publications that you guys are putting out? Where should the audience be looking at in terms of getting the most information? We had Natalie Brunell speak at the conference, and I thought she did an amazing job. Hats off to Natalie Brunell. She was a rock star in terms of presentation and explaining it to it. What you got a book in your hand?
I got a book that it essentially it's called The Bullish Case for Bitcoin. The lighting's a little janky, so you might not be able to see it. But there's an article of the same name, The Bullish Case for Bitcoin by Vijay Boyapati. It'll take you about 45 minutes to read. That is the best first place. That's the first stop I send everyone. He wrote it himself, and he's since expanded it into that book. Either the book or the article is a great starting place.
So where do you Q? Where do you get this book right here, or this bullish book for Bitcoin? Where do you get
like Amazon?
on Amazon?
Anywhere you want.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
What's it called?
The bullish.
The Bullish Case
Case for
for
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin.
Okay, so there's 54 people in the audience. It is 1:25. In the next 10 minutes, 1:25 to 1:35 Pacific time, if you go on and you send a message to Randy at Alt Alliance, I'm going to send you this book for free. I'm going to buy this book and send it to you for free. Go to Randy at Alt Alliance and send an email right now. You got 10 minutes to send it, and because Q recommended it on this show as a special gift for Q being here, we're going to send it out to the first. Really anyone who signs up for it. Email Randy at Alt Alliance, and I'll send you the bullish case for Bitcoin.
Just a heads up
for
on
free.
that too.
What?
If you've got Kindle Unlimited, it's free for you.
If you got Kindle Unlimited, it's free.
I just downloaded it.
All right, well, I'm going to buy some hard copies and give them out because Q said to. Q, I was bummed after meeting you. I was a little bummed that we didn't have you at the conference. And I assure you, we're going to be having an evening with a major someone in Bitcoin, and hopefully you can be invited and come join and speak on the panel, because I really enjoyed the conference, the 1 hour we spent together. But what's on your mind about Bitcoin? I'm going to shut up and listen a little bit. And if you had any other sort of like tidbits in terms of this pullback with Luna, maybe you could kind of walk people through what you thought of the Luna situation.
Sure. I mean, the Luna situation, I think, is the perfect example of why every single finance teacher I ever had would explain the definition of arbitrage, fully convince everyone in class that there is no such thing as a free lunch, and then yet go on to show you how you can create said free lunch, and how it just never sat right, at least with me. And that was the situation we saw transpire. You essentially saw an algorithm that would help stabilize Terra, not Tether, Terra and Luna. And then all of a sudden, this broke. But traders are not the ones sitting there like, oh, there's an arbitrage opportunity, let me buy right now. No, what's really happening is you have programs that, not the actual algorithm that keeps this stable. You have investors who have created their own programs to take advantage of opportunities like that. And the program will read, oh, there's a disconnect, let's go trade that arbitrage. Well, when too many of those are all trading that arbitrage, that's an issue. That's just step one. Now, step two is where Bitcoin fits into this equation, which was where Luna was backed by Bitcoin. And unfortunately, the way Do Kwon decided to do this was take his Bitcoin and use leverage to essentially say, like, our Bitcoin's actually worth this amount, denominating it at about $40,000 a Bitcoin. What he did not, I think, recognize or maybe believe was that Bitcoin can still go down from where it is. And as a result, if it went too low, i.e. $30,000, he's going to get margin called. And through different issuances of, hey, we're going to issue new debt based on this Bitcoin and based on these Luna holdings, they were trying to play catch up in a losing battle. And the final kicker, and what really was the nail in the coffin here, was when Luna's market cap undercut the market cap of Terra, essentially saying that when you used to be able to trade 1 Terra for $1 worth of Luna, or $1 worth of Luna for 1 Terra, that no longer can exist, because you've now introduced a market cap supply that is lower than your $1 denominated market cap supply. So all of a sudden, you're now trying to issue new Luna tokens to get the market cap higher, further diluting things out. Hence, a 118 or cryptocurrency worth $118 just 2 days ago being worth $0 now.
Wow.
And it is worth pointing out that this is not, like, it needs to be said, this is not Do Kwon's first attempt at doing something like this. And this is not just a blemish. I think this is something that people have to really stop and consider who is leading a project that is outside of Bitcoin. I'm a very big proponent of Bitcoin only, due in large part because when I look at a lot of these things, you come to realize that Bitcoin's code is open source, fully available. You, me, everyone in between can go and look at it right now. But every single person, including people who founded Luna, including Vitalik, who founded Ethereum, any other cryptocurrency, they go and take this Bitcoin source code and make adjustments based on what they believe are flaws in Bitcoin's code, but then they reintroduce flaws that, in my opinion at least, Bitcoin had already solved for. And so if every single thing is essentially founded off of Bitcoin, look, I come from Hollywood, so like no sequel is ever as good as the original, with a fair few exceptions, but Bitcoin is the original and everything else is just a sequel, in my opinion.
So do you think that the other
Stable
coins are in jeopardy at this point. I mean, I don't think Tether is, but I mean, there's a couple people that are trying these experiments, and I don't know how they keep up, especially with, you know, when Bitcoin's volatile, when someone like Greg Foss says that he believes there's still downward pressure on Bitcoin, and he believes it could get as low as 21K. You know, I mean, some of these stable coins are going to come under some serious pressure.
Yeah, I mean, it really goes back to what the stable coin is backed by. Like, backing a stable coin to a cryptocurrency that is then pegged to the Bitcoin, you are essentially recreating a scenario where your home currency is backed by another fiat currency that is also inflating. And so therefore your inflation rate is not only how much your country is printing, but also how much the currency that you are holding in reserves is printing. Does that sound familiar to you?
Oh,
I think
does.
it's something that we've seen a couple times. So that system being recreated is where I have a problem. And I think where people like Greg Foss are like, yo, what are you doing? We're literally creating Bitcoin to get away from this. And you're then recreating systems that will in turn have us fall down these same rabbit holes. Mind you, I understand and appreciate the privilege that I'm afforded being in America, not having to necessarily worry about my diminishing dollar as much as a lot of people in a lot of other countries. But that doesn't necessarily, and I'm going to say it in a very direct way, that doesn't mean assholes, excuse my language, who want to be opportunists and take advantage of people in tough times should be afforded those opportunities. And I think unless you have a viable, legitimate backing for a stable coin that is something more sound and less volatile, and right now, even Bitcoin has a hard time being categorized as that, arguably. If you were to back your stable coin with things like, I say this in jest, but also like kind of seriously, things like a Costco hot dog or the Arizona iced tea, you'd have more stability in your price than if you even had it backed by dollars in reserve, because those dollars in reserve are diminishing in value. So we're watching a technology get tested, and I think it's healthy to do that, but it's also necessary to understand that these are still, we are very much in the trial run of stable coins, and going all in on these things right now is a very risky thing when even the founders don't understand how they work. And the founders themselves are trying to suss that out.
I agree.
Jason, I wonder if you buy into the thesis that people want to, Buffett talks about people inherently wanting to make things confusing. They want to make them complicated. And is the lack of control of Bitcoin the reason why people repackage the Bitcoin? Because if you think about it, if you're just a purist and you don't do anything with it, then they've got to do something else. Like, you know, what I'm trying to say is that people, even in its most simplistic form, you had a mutual fund. People didn't want, you know, those weren't as those became less popular as ETFs. These are repackaged products, right, to make things simpler. But in the inherent desire to make things simpler for Bitcoin, by saying let's get you something pegged, or create liquidity in that way, they almost make it more complicated. Don't you think that's like the inherent human need to make things more complicated when they're super simple?
I mean, I guess if people are looking for an advantage, I mean, it just depends. Like in sports, for example, like purists like baseball, they don't like instant replay. All the digital umpires are coming into play. Like purists like baseball, like the National League, they like pitchers hitting. They don't like designated hitters. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't there a need for the stable coins in order to transact properly as a conduit between, let's say, liquidating your Bitcoin into a stable coin where it's supposed to be a safe haven while you sit on the sidelines in Tether or USDC or whatever, and then you decide whether to move that to a ACH to your DDA account, your fiat account?
Well, Q, I mean, just for simplistic purposes, what's the point of a stablecoin? What is the actual point? Just treat me like a moron.
No, I mean, it's exactly that. It's so that for the two ends of the spectrum, the very, very poor and left out of this fiat money printing system that only live paycheck to paycheck and can't afford to take a paycheck in Bitcoin because, God forbid, they got paid last Friday or 2 Fridays ago, and now they're sitting with 25% losses just because they were paid in that currency. So unfortunately, as of right now, Bitcoin is not a viable solution for a lot of those people. And on the other end of the spectrum, when you have a certain amount of wealth and your goal is no longer growing it, but rather retaining and maintaining it, you can't store it in USD because inflation is just slowly diminishing that value. If you had held it in either Bitcoin or the general stock market, you're watching anywhere from, depending on what index you were holding, 16% all the way to over 50% drawdowns of that money. And so there's also a legitimate case as to why those in sort of the upper echelon need that stability, because there's not been a solution, at least not one provided by our centralized governments, that allow you to store and hold your wealth over a prolonged amount of time without it significantly losing its value. I'm going to butcher what Michael Saylor said 100 times better than I did. But essentially, you have an ice cube, and with inflation, you have everything. You have the the water slowly melting off of this ice cube. And so it's about preventing that melt off for both the uber wealthy with the largest ice cube in the world and the very, very poor who have crumbs of ice and can't afford for even one of those flakes to melt. That is where a stable coin comes in.
Okay.
But there's an inherent flaw, I think, in this whole system, which is that absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yeah.
And when you give this control to someone like Do Kwon or a centralized business, you are now exposed to having the Fed come around and say, hey, by the way, this is now ours. This is now the US dollar or USDC. You are now going to introduce bad actors trying to get a hold of and manipulate this for their own benefit. And the people getting manipulated may not see it as a malicious attack. They may think, oh, this person coming in and telling me to pull this lever this way or change the supply, it opened the door to so many more people. And I just want to help more people. They may genuinely be thinking we're doing it for the right reason when they're not thinking about, wait, I just diluted everyone's holding. I reintroduced of a million token holding. I just introduced 500,000 more and diluted the whole quantity by 50%. Wait, what? So there is this layer to it is necessary. It is almost like a necessary evil that we need to figure out a way to, in the way that Satoshi almost did, create it and then walk away.
So, but don't you think that, I mean, in part, and I'm going to go out on a limb here and hopefully the Bitcoiners don't crucify me, it's a little bit of the Bitcoin community's fault, right? I mean, we've allowed, as a Bitcoin community, them to centralize banks instead of making Coinbase and Gemini and, well, really any of these wallets that are online holdings where, you know, the government, A, can seize it, but B, we've centralized cash. We've made these the default go-to platforms to hold your Bitcoin instead of making them simple clearinghouses, right? We've given them leverage like we've given the banks to go and lend 20-to-1 against our dollar. I mean, it really is, from an educational standpoint at least, our fault for not educating the masses on why that's a bad idea and not a good idea.
That's a good point.
I'm going to push back on that. Twofold, because if we could really educate the masses to like believe what we wanted to believe, I don't think our country would be at the place it's at right now. And secondly, like the early days of Bitcoin, to really like go out and buy a Bitcoin or transact Bitcoin was infinitely harder than what it is today. And yes, you're absolutely right. We have essentially created these centralized pockets where an exchange is this centralized entity that allows a retail investor like myself, who is not really tech savvy, to be able to now interact with a decentralized network that no one can control the network itself. Yes, Biden can call Brian Armstrong tomorrow and tell him to do 5 different things different with Coinbase. Otherwise, they get shut down, and it probably gets done. It's why you see a lot of things happen out of Coinbase, I think, more so than a lot of other companies, because they're the biggest face in the public market in that sense. But these different interaction points, whether it's an exchange, whether it's a different wallet custodian, whether it's a hot wallet or soft wallet, whatever it is, these centralized points of control create new on and off ramps for less tech savvy people. And if anything, we're only going to see those expand out.
Well, I agree.
But it will be very,
I agree. And just real quick before you finish that thought, I agree with that, honestly, and I don't mean to cut you off, but I agree that, you know, they're needed to onboard new customers to Bitcoin. I think it's the after action where we fail, and maybe I didn't make that clear enough. It's the after action of you don't really have to leave your money there to clear. And I can have a Coinbase account, keep one Bitcoin in there and keep the other 30 I bought through Bitcoin in my hard wallet, right? Or in my soft wallet, or whatever in my paper wallet, if you want to call it. And then when I need to sell it, as long as I'm KYC AML'd, I can upload, transfer, sell. And in fact, some of the wallets allow me to do that. So I guess I meant that it's the after effect, because I'm not disagreeing with you that Gemini or Coinbase or any of these institutions are not good for Bitcoin and the onboarding and the adoption. I think it's the idea of, look, the network's never been hacked. We all agree with that, right? But Bitcoin's been hacked in that, the systems that we write to hold it and keep it, I've never been hacked because I have a private key. But Coinbase, could be hacked tomorrow as long as they had their password
But
and made transfers.
that's humans making it more complicated, but also more easy. The concept of mass adoption. I mean, if you think about what we've been talking about, where you're going to take your Bitcoin offline, put it in a wallet, then know where your codes are somewhere else, and have your recovery pass keys somewhere else. It is a more complicated process than just putting it in the bank and having it available. Putting it in Robinhood and having it in my Robinhood account, right?
Well, sort of. I mean, it depends on what the wallets have come a long way too. I mean, in the early days, we agree that in the early days it was real problematic, but it's become a lot easier, right? You have air-gapped keys where it's easy. You plug in, you go, you trade. I mean, you can send directly from your wallet to anybody else, including your own online accounts, right? I mean, how do custodians work? They keep a certain. Well, how does Coinbase work? 2% of their holdings are kept online, and that's it. Right?
Q, do you have a place that you like to or do you like to store Bitcoin?
In my hard drive wallet, I will say my practices have not been the best because all of my Bitcoin is KYC'd, unfortunately. So I would highly recommend a cold card. Cold card is, in my opinion, the best solution. They did, however, make one big change, which was they took their from being open source to now it's no longer open source for this model. We on Bitcoin Magazine Live had a really long conversation with MBK, the founder of it, and his argument is valid in that, like, look, every iteration of this has been open source, but at a certain point, like, I need to make money. So I understood that argument. I really like the product itself as well. I don't want to disclose what I actually use because I'm candidly not very proud of my current system, and I'm in the process of switching everything over to my.
I think we all kind of think we all have that, right? I mean, I have stuff at Coinbase, I have stuff at Earnity, I have stuff at Robinhood.
I don't leave that. Okay, Todd, no more Robinhood. Point blank. Please stop buying on Robinhood. You can't. My issue with Robinhood and Venmo in particular, and this goes back to what Crypto Joe was alluding to, is like the idea that if you do not hold or possess your Bitcoin in an access point that you yourself control, and you are the only entity that controls, you've now introduced someone else to get corrupted and take it away from you.
Yep.
That is one layer of this. The second layer is just the sheer fact that I don't even think yet Robinhood has officially rolled out the way to take your Bitcoin off of it. Like, as right now, it's purely a trade.
Well, let's be clear.
They're having MTL issues.
I'm buying most of my stuff in Earnity now because we own part of it, and Earnity has a trust that it holds it in. But ultimately, I'm going to put stuff in storage, and I've had Dr. Frank Albo and Joe and others trying to help me with this idea, this strategy about where I'm going to keep it. Our Bitcoin we mine at BitNile, we hold it at a CASOX compliant custodian. So as a public company, we have to hold all of our Bitcoin into with a third party custodian account. So we.
And in some ways, when you go to a custodian, like, you pay for the luxury, but some of the big whales are custodians because, again, custodians are similar to Coinbase, but you can ask from a custodian, you can ask from your private key. You can't from a Coinbase, let's call it, and not to beat up on them because there are others, but
no, we could beat up on Coinbase.
Yeah, right. So. So I mean, the fact of the matter is, custodians, have very, very stringent where most of their cryptocurrency is vaulted, and very, very small portions of their holdings are kept online, and that small portion of that holding is insured through insurers, right? And they never keep X more. So, that's another way people could keep their custody and be good with it.
Hey, we appreciate Q you being here, and I'm a little bummed because I'd like to spend some more time with you and sort of get to know what you're working on. But if you were to direct people as to what you were working on, or wanted them to special things to pay attention to that Bitcoin Magazine's doing, where would you direct everyone right now?
Definitely check out our Twitter page and our YouTube channel. We're putting new content out every single day. I am host of our daily live news show as well as our podcast series. We have a lot of stuff coming out on Twitter Spaces as well. So be sure to stay up to date with any of those type of conversations. And then if you're not already subscribed to the email newsletter, we send out our 3 sort of best articles of the day every single day around, I want to say it's like noon Pacific, maybe a little bit earlier in the day. But be sure to check that out. We have some incredible news writers who are on staff, as well as some awesome contributors like Jimmy Song, who writes a weekly column for us, or Alex Svetsky as well. So all great stuff. All of it is helped and catered to you to either learn more about Bitcoin, become more self-sovereign, or just understand what's going on in the world.
You got to get some, no matter what. In my opinion, it's if you make $1, you got to put 5 cents in there. That's a Greg Foss original. I don't want to steal his thunder there, but I love the idea. I did want to close out the last few minutes we have on. It's exhausting watching this. Oh, well, wait, I'm going to bias you a little bit, so hold on a second. What's your thoughts on Bitcoin miners and the amount of power they use?
In all honesty, they don't use enough energy. It's the most efficient form of energy capture. Obviously, you hear all of the FUD going on. We saw New York passing whatever legislation that they see fit without a real clear understanding of energy incentives. And I think that's really where the root of the argument gets lost for the people who are against Bitcoin mining. Look, how much energy does it take to actually operate every single ATM on a 24-hour basis in this country? How much energy does one bank branch take to operate all of the vaults it has on an annual basis? How much energy do you really think it takes for just one of our military bases outside of this country to operate on an annual basis? Those are the type of things that maintain the value of the dollar. So if you're telling me that those things actually outweigh energy use versus the Bitcoin miners, I don't think you really understand energy, but obviously that's not directed at anyone here, just more a broad sense. Ultimately, everything, including the dollar, including gold, including Bitcoin, has a sunk cost in it of how much it costs to make this. Gold miners are going to charge somewhat of a fee of the price of gold, not just of the market value, but also like how much it costs for me to just take this rock out of the ground, all the equipment, the manpower, permits, etc. That is also baked into the price. We just don't think about that as often as we do. We don't think about that on the dollar either. And we don't really think about that when it comes to Bitcoin, but that's how we need to be thinking about it. It costs energy to make this. It costs energy to, go to work. And what is your result for spending time and energy at work? You get paid. And that money that you make is a store of that time, energy that you had spent. No different than gold, no different than the dollar, no different than Bitcoin. That's all it is. And when you measure it in that way, Bitcoin is not using enough energy.
Yeah.
So let me hold on a second. Let me tell you what you can do about following Q. Q, can you give everyone your Twitter account?
Yeah, it's Q_ like the letter. Literally the words like the letter.
Q_. I think we always follow each other, you and I?
I definitely follow you, Todd. Am I going to get the elusive Todd Ault follow back?
Uh-oh.
Like the letter. The letter. No, that's not you. Hold on, that's not Q
_
like
LIKE
THE
THELETTER.
Wow, this Project Veritas Twitter Wow, this is getting like 6 million views now. Holy crap.
Oh, hey, you do follow me. Here we go, right now. Here we
You're
go.
funny.
Follow back.
Follow back.
Boom.
So go to Q_like, L-I-K-E, the letter, and follow him. He's got, let's see here. Oh, dude, I like your picture.
I won't. I don't know if I can say it on this. I don't want your show to get dung, but I'm partaking in some fun in Mexico in that picture.
Yeah, well, I partake when I go to sleep, so we're good. We're on the same page, you and I. But one of the things that I was fascinated with was, by the way, this is important for all of you, and I know this was going to be played because we'll promote it and it'll be paid thousands of times. 2.4 million followers follow Bitcoin Magazine, where Q works. But they have a new thing where you can sign up for their daily Bitcoin newsletter right on their Twitter account, right? I mean, you just press subscribe, Q, and it's right. Is that free?
Yeah.
Well,
all of that stuff is free. We also have like a more in-depth, like on-chain analytics newsletter, Bitcoin Magazine Pro. There's a free version of that as well. So if you're more into trading, you want that type of market analysis, I'd highly recommend going and taking a look at Bitcoin Magazine Pro.
Yeah, I watch their Bitcoin Magazine all the time on YouTube. You guys got to check that out. And go follow Q _like the letter. I get that. Q like the letter. Yeah. Sorry, I'm a little slower now. I'm 52, going to be 53 Q. So unlike yourself, where do you hang out in Los Angeles?
Oof.
Lenny, where are you? Where are you located in LA?
The South Bay.
The South Bay.
So, like, do you know where like Torrance, Hermosa, Manhattan?
Yeah, that's
Beach,
like Rolling Hills Estates, right?
My family lives in Palos Verdes.
Right.
But
So
people in Los Angeles don't know where Palos Verdes is. So I'm more often than not just.
I got
Los
some
Angeles.
family on Buckskin Lane. You know, that's horse country up there in Palos Verdes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hey Q, appreciate you being here, my friend. Hopefully you'll come back again on another show. Look forward to Bitcoin 2023, all the things you guys are doing. And do me a favor, I know you know our producer, so if you got something exciting coming up, let us know. We'd love to have you on as a regular guest if you have time. That's important to us. I mean, we don't want to take up your time, but if you have things you want to talk about and get word out, we're getting more subscribers every day to the channel. I think we got about 100-some thousand on social. There's a few million on my Instagram. I think some of them, like probably 10%. I'm gonna channel Elon Musk. 20% are bogus accounts, so there's still 1.6 million there that aren't. And therefore, we're gonna check out HUD 8 that you talked about, and that book we're gonna give away. Q, as always, we enjoy your company, and Greg told me to tell you hello. I guess you have a lot of fans out there because I mentioned you to Greg and Natalie and a few others, and everyone's a fan of Q. So it's great to have you on the program, my friend.
I appreciate that, Todd. This was an absolute blast. Like, we're gonna just be playing back and forth. You're gonna have to come back on BM Live. I'm happy to come back on anytime. But yeah, this is great. Be careful for all the liars out there, though.
Yeah. Hey, special thanks to everybody who just signed up for Earn It today. If you go check out the car, you get free Bitcoin on the Twitter. You just have to get that QR code. Joe, what do you think about yourself being on the front of the car?
Dude, that's crazy.
I told you, dude. What's crazy?
You are going to said you'll never guess, dude. I've been guessing in my head for
You'll
like
never
3
guess.
weeks.
You're on the nose cone. You were supposed to find out on Friday when you went out for practice.
That'd have been nice.
Yeah, we're headed to Indy. Hey, it's the Indy 500. This weekend is qualifying. Special thanks to Ed Carpenter Racing. Good luck to Ed Carpenter, Renus VK, and our buddy Connor Daly driving the BitNile car. So you got the Ultimate car, number 33. You got the 20 car with Connor Daly, the BitNile car, and you got the Bitcoin car powered by BitNile. Renus VK number 21 flying the Netherlands colors in orange.
Look at that thing.
We got a lot going on here. A special community, special thanks to Penske Entertainment, John Stewart, who's just an incredible guy.
Yeah.
Willie Ames, Cliff, all the people that got us there. We love Indy. We love the way that they treat people. We love the values of the Indy community. All the people have been wonderful. Check us out on social media. Tomorrow, guys, we'll see you on the Risk On Show. Got a special guest. Nicole Arbor will be here in studio. 1 o'clock tomorrow. Nicole Arbor will be in studio. Special thanks to Q. And let's check out some of the guests. Oh, is that today? Guest testimonials right now? Oh, tomorrow. Hey, all right, great. Risk on Business Conference was a rock. We're going to make it available to everybody. If you watch this show, you're going to get a free link to check it out. And you can watch the whole thing. It's going to be amazing. Everybody, Risk On. Special thanks to Q and Bitcoin Magazine. We'll see you later. Be well.